Again. Oh, that freeze? What the fuck?
You're good now?
Oh,
Yeah,
what
you're good
the
now.
heck? All right, cool. Uh, Welcome everyone. This is season 3 of You're Where with Who, and I'm your co-host Usman Juf here with Katie. And on this episode of season 3, episode 1, we're sitting down with James Jager, music producer and open format DJ. Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Full-blown Drexel reunion, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I think they're the third Drexel stu- uh student we had on here,
Yeah.
right?
There's some like heavy hitters that came out of Drexel. Was Martin is a heavy hitter.
Yep.
Nico Oso as well.
Mhm.
And I guess maybe I'm up there with them. I don't know. But
I mean, maybe. Of course.
And, well, thanks again for joining the show, man. As a way to get started, if you could give us a walkthrough of how you began in your career, what led you into the music space, and oh my God, sorry for that. My brother is being very obnoxious right now, but holy
We
crap.
keep it real on this podcast.
Okay, so back to what I was asking.
To our hard-hitting questions that we have for you
Oh
today.
man, if you could just walk us through what led you to enter the music space, what sparked it, and how you kind of really got started.
yeah, for sure. So freshman year of college, right? This is going back quite a bit.
We're old now, guys.
I know,
We're
I know.
officially old.
It's unfortunate,
Young
but
Kurt.
one of my good friends, Pete, had like a little Newmark controller, and in the dorms, I would, you know, take it from him because he wouldn't use it, and I would like set it up on my bed because it was a dorm and there wasn't really anything anywhere to put it, and I would just like practice and practice and practice, and eventually I started doing fraternity events, um, sorority formals, stuff like that. Um, and then around the senior year, like when I started to turn 21 and I was able to kind of go out, I started playing at some spots in Philly, some like smaller local bars. The big one at the time for me was I was an opener at Noto.
Yes.
So I
Love
kind of
Noto.
used, yeah, yeah, Noto was a great
Shout
time.
out to Noto. We love
Yeah,
Noto. We love Robbie.
yep, yep.
Their owner, he's great. Shout out Robbie if you're watching this.
Yeah. And then graduated school, moved out of Philadelphia, and eventually moved to Hoboken right when COVID hit. So awful timing for
Crazy
everything involved.
timing.
Yeah, terrible timing. But I kind of knew some people from Hoboken, so when stuff started to open up again, I would just go out to as many events as I could, tried to meet as many people in like the New Jersey, New York market as I could. And eventually I started getting booked fairly consistently by Get Down DJ Group, which is a Hoboken, New York based booking agency. Um, and I kind of grew out from there. Like this past year, I played in Charlotte, North Carolina. Um, I played in Detroit, Michigan, and this year I'm gonna add hopefully Charleston, South Carolina, to that list of like out of state bookings that I'm working to achieve. And yeah, the music production's always kind of been there in some form. This year specifically is I started to take less of those small bar gigs, kind of say no to more things. So I kind of have more time to be in the studio, more time to come up with ideas. And honestly, I'm really liking it. When I do play a show, it's at a place I really enjoy to play. And I have more time to prep and I could just kind of be a little bit more creative with that set in general. So it's been working out so far. A little bit less money, but I kind of have a day job as well, so I have that power to say no when I need to.
That's awesome. How did you find yourself getting into the space of production? Like specifically, I know you mentioned like starting in college, and kind of jumping off from there, but has music always been a big part of your life from an early age? Is that something that kind of brought you into it?
Actually, no.
Really?
I didn't listen to music until probably like college started. But I
That's so
always
interesting.
Yeah.
probably like senior year of high school I discovered EDM was
Okay.
when I started to listen to music a lot.
Yeah.
And my first my first festival I ever went to was Izu.
Mhm.
That's
Before
a
it was
classic
horrible.
one.
Before it was horrible, and when they could actually,
Uh,
build the screens and everything, like the good
yeah.
old days.
I have so
Um,
much beef with that festival.
yeah,
Really.
yeah. In 2014, I just thought the coolest thing about that was it always felt like a competition between which person is up there dropping the coolest music.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I always thought that was like the coolest thing. That's like probably one of the driving factors that got me into DJing in the first place. Like it was like I'm gonna come on, I'm gonna drop all the new music, I'm gonna do all this cool stuff, and then the next guy's gonna come on, he's gonna try to top it, right? So I always thought that was so cool. Learning to produce is quite a feat. I'll put it that way. And I did produce a little bit in college, but I was admittedly pretty bad at the time. Um, I
I feel
kind
like
of,
that's always how it starts for everyone,
Yeah.
of
right?
course,
Not an
yeah,
expert at anything, you're just learning.
yep. And I did self-release a couple things here and there.
Mhm.
But more recently, I joined this production school.
Okay.
It's a Jersey-based production school, Ferrari Production Academy, and they kind of helped me hone my sound, make it sound a lot more professional, stuff like that. So I have used that as like a way to learn from people who actually know how to produce to kind of get better at it.
Right. I feel like so frequently, I mean, like the big names that I'm thinking of is somebody like a John Summit and all those types of names that they have. I think a lot of them have YouTube videos dating back from when they first started in like the times of like peak COVID when nobody was really doing anything. I feel like so many folks that got really, really popular were like, you know what? I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna learn music today. I'm gonna do this. And then you look back at their older stuff and it's amazing how they take you through the actual process and what it has expanded into
Yeah.
now. Like headlining some of these festivals, it's so cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow, very interesting. Do you have any favorite festivals? I know we mentioned Izu, and we're gonna get like a cease and desist sent from those people because I,
No, we're not. No, we're not.
no, we're not. No, we're
We're
not.
not.
I'm not putting that out there. Izu, we love you. You're great.
Zoo
We love
Easy is
you
not
so
even
much.
happening anymore. I think the
Okay,
last time
well,
they
never
had a
mind.
festival was in like 22.
Yeah.
They are done. They're shut down. I don't think they ever having a festival
Didn't they
again.
have a really didn't they have one where they like couldn't get the stages built in time? Wasn't that 2023 maybe? I think I was there in 2022.
No, so I was there, yeah. I think in 22 is when we saw each other
When
there.
you pitched me the idea for the podcast.
Yeah.
Yes, full circle.
Yeah.
We're
And then
standing at a we're standing at a stage and he's like, "We should do a podcast." And I'm like, "Yeah, we could talk about that after. Let's finish watching this."
I know, yeah. But I think 23 is the year that they didn't build the stage in time and they had to cancel Friday's shows, which
That's
made New
crazy.
York um go into chaos. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a shit show, but I don't know.
That's
I don't think it's
insane.
ever coming back. But
Okay. Well then we're good. They're not going to
yeah.
come after us. But James, do you have any festivals that either you've really enjoyed as an attendee or that you see yourself wanting to play in the future?
So I guess that there's definitely two answers to that question. My music taste kind of comes in phases, and towards the end of college, I was very much into bass music. So my favorite festival I ever attended was Electric Forest, and Usman was actually there with me.
Yeah.
Um,
Really?
that
Yep.
was it was like it was a great lineup,
Yeah.
awesome grounds. It was just like a whole unique experience. It was like a cool way to like end my senior year of college.
Yeah.
Um,
That's one I've never been to, but I've never heard anything bad about it.
it's
Everybody speaks
awesome.
so highly of it and it looks beautiful.
Yes, yes. But the one I'd want to play, and it's probably Ultra Miami.
Yeah,
That's like
that's a
that's like
classic.
that's probably like it's like a world renowned thing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like that's like the festival in the US that all the big artists and everyone wants to play. Like that's
Yeah.
the one. And I think that would be the one that I'd want to play more than anything.
Wow. That's another crazy one. I've never attended that, but one of my friends lives in that area right by where they throw it in Miami. And this was maybe last year that there was this like crazy, crazy rainstorm that happened. And there was it was horrible. The videos that I saw of it, like there was mud everywhere. People are like trekking in their festival outfits, like trekking through the mud. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that.
Yeah, that year I was in. That was last year. I was
Were
in
you
Miami.
there?
No, I wasn't at Ultra. I
Okay.
went for Music Week
Yeah.
like
Got
the
it.
week
Yeah.
before, and I flew out of Miami in that rainstorm.
No. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
the flight was delayed like 3 hours, and then we got out of there. But it was I remember landing and looking at people's stories and like you know how festival people are like they don't really care. So
No.
like people were like throwing themselves in the mud and doing all sorts of crazy
I
stuff, and
saw
I'm
some
like,
of those videos and I was
Yeah.
kind of horrified.
yeah, yeah.
Kind of terrifying.
Yeah, and then Tiesto just did a whole set with the rain coming down on his CD
Did he
bridge, which was
really?
hilarious. Yeah,
Oh my gosh. I didn't see that. That would have been dope though. I
yeah.
was just in Vail, Colorado for John Summit's Experts Only Weekender that he threw
Oh,
out
nice.
there. So he did, it was over Valentine's Day weekend. He did that one in Vail, and then I don't know how he does it. The very next weekend he was in Nevada or California, something like that. I think he was in Tahoe. Yeah. But I mean, same kind of situation, except it wasn't pouring rain, which is cool. But like when he was playing his set, the snow was coming down on him.
Oh wow,
Like
love
the
that.
entire, I mean, you would know better than me. I can only imagine. I know DJ equipment is not super cheap, so you want to protect it. But I mean, the entire stage, like all the sound equipment looked like it was covered in snow, like
That's
piles of
crazy.
snow. It was nuts.
The lasers, though, I'm sure would have been
The
epic
lasers.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
during
It was
that.
super, super dope. They did an incredible job with that, truly.
Uh, Jaeger, so throughout this journey of becoming a better producer and your music journey as a DJ, are there any artists that you could point to that you look to for whether it's motivation, tips on how to hone your skills, or just an artist that you just love to follow and the work that they produce on a yearly basis that you kind of like look up to, admire?
Yeah, for sure. This past year was definitely Knock 2
Hmm.
was like a really big inspiration for me. Like
Really
his
good.
shows just look so crazy. Everyone's just jumping up as high as they possibly can, and like the energy that comes out of those shows is crazy. Um, I love the ISO Knock album as well.
Yeah.
Because him and ISOXO kind of did like a trap hybrid kind of album, and there was like some really cool stuff that came out of that. Really like them. An OG for me when I was starting out was Laid Back Luke.
Okay.
Laid Back Luke
That's a
was
name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I actually met him when I was down in Miami. I was
Really?
pretty, yeah, I was pretty excited. I had to hide it though because I'm supposed to be like,
I
professional.
died it.
But um, but yeah, like, over the years it kind of evolves a little bit. I'd say like Knock Two's the guy right now. The smaller artist right now is Arcando.
Okay.
He's like a drum and bass artist who's signed to Stamped Records. He's a little bit smaller, but his tracks are really really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of dipping into that with my production a little bit, like the faster sound
Hmm.
instead of like the typical 128 BPM house music. I have a track in the works that's 150, and then one that's drum and bass at 174.
Damn.
So it's a little fast, but
Yeah.
it's kind of a fun space to produce up there. It's like a nice change of pace.
Yeah. You've said that your kind of music interests change over time, and I feel like that's you reminded me just talking about like all the bass stuff. I was the same way in college where like I still do. There's still some circumstances where like, you're at the gym, you're on a run or something like that.
Yeah.
You're like, I need hard-hitting bass music right now to get me through this workout. But there's other days where I've gone so much more into just like trap house and stuff like that, like something a little more chill. Vibe is like laying on a beach with, a little margarita situation instead. But can you tell us like where you see your own style going? Is it headed more into that drum and bass, or do you change it day by day where you're like, one day I want to do a drum and bass track, one day I want to do something more bassy?
So I kind of look at it. I think it's probably going to be more bassy. I look at like certain producers on, let's say, DimMac or like one of the sub labels of DimMac. They kind of go up and down not frequency spectrum. They kind of go up and down the BPM range with a lot of their tracks. But it always kind of sounds like them.
Got it.
So I do like to play around with different, but I always want it to sound like me. But I think it's definitely going to be more bassy. at this point. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna make dubstep, but like maybe like a trap second drop might be a thing.
Okay.
But kind of just like play around in those spaces because it when you're producing stuff, you have to be excited by it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I've tried to do the melodic stuff quite a bit, but it doesn't necessarily excite me as much as like something that's like intense and like intricate and like kind of makes people confused when they listen to it, but they also kind of like it, like that kind of stuff.
You
Yeah,
want people to be confused.
I want them to give me the bass face. That's really what I'm
Yeah.
after here.
Yes.
You know, if someone gives me a bass face on a song I give them, that's like the greatest compliment you could receive.
It's funny because I know exactly what you mean. Hearing something for the first time and then, or not necessarily the first time, or hearing something that you're used to hearing, and then having the DJ turn something, and that being the first time you hear it, and you're like, "Whoa, I didn't expect that." Um, them to turn the song in that direction, and the drop afterwards is just absolutely insane. And that's when the bass face just comes in to
Yeah,
play. You just,
yeah.
what the fuck that I just hear? And
It's not something you control. It's just like a response.
yeah,
It's like a
It's
response
automatic,
to
yeah.
like wait, what happens?
no, damn,
What am I hearing right
I know
now? That's
that
so true.
is very, very true.
Do you
Uh,
have any tracks recently that have given you bass face that you've heard?
So I have three tracks I'm working on right now. One of them is it's a remix of Mo Bamba with my buddy Solano. Solano's a really dope producer from New Jersey. He's been supported by like Tiesto,
Oh, sweet.
which is awesome that he's my friend and he wants to do a track with me. But that one, actually, the story behind the second drop, the first drop's like speed bass house, I'd say, and the second drop is trap. And the story behind that second drop was that we were pre-gaming at my apartment. We were going to see Pickle in at play at Marquee in New York, and we were just like sitting around drinking Surfsides and just like being drunk and just attacking Ableton. And it came out so sick, like it was wild how sick it came out. And then, the next week we kind of had to go in and fix the stuff that we were doing that was out of key or whatever it was. But
Yeah.
that was really fun. And when we were done, we're like, yo, this is sick. Like this is dope. Like, yeah.
Do we have a potential release date?
So we're in the mix and mastering stage right now.
Okay.
I'm in that stage on two songs, so I don't know what his release schedule looks like,
Yeah.
but whichever one is done first, it will be released first. I'm thinking probably my own remix will be released first, given his release schedule coming up. But yeah,
What is the mixing and mastering stage? What's involved in that process of creating a song? It seems like
so like, sorry.
no, no. It seems like the end point, but I'll let you elaborate on what it actually means.
Yeah, so mixing and mastering is like, you write the song, and then mixing and mastering is kind of like the intricate balancing of everything. And like, going through each track and say, oh, this piece needs more highs. This piece, you need to like fit everything into the different pieces of the frequency spectrum and the panning spectrum so that it sounds clean to the listener. And then mastering is essentially you're just taking that mixed thing and you're just making it louder. You're normalizing it or limiting it so that it's the same loudness as everything else out there. Is essentially what mastering is. Mastering's the easy part, I'd say. Mixing is where the magic happens. That's where you can kind of make sure that every little piece of the song is sitting perfectly, and you can kind of like, if sometimes you might want something to be more warm, sometimes you might not. Like that's kind of where you tackle that stuff in like the mixing part.
That feels like the fine
Yeah.
tuning of
Yes,
the
Okay.
song
exactly.
then at that
Yes,
point. Okay,
yes. It's very
cool.
very detail oriented. I wouldn't say I'm the best mixer, but there are people that I know who I trust their opinion a lot. So I'll send my stuff around, say like, how does this sound? Like, does it sound okay? And they'll say no, like there's way too much highs, and then you kind of go back and you could
Hmm.
mess with it a little bit.
Interesting. So I guess that means like I've heard the terms mixing and mastering
Yeah.
before, but I didn't actually know the detail of what's involved in it. I guess that means that you could have different sound engineers that would look at the same, like, I guess, raw file of a track before it's mixed and mastered, and like different audio engineers could have completely different, mixed and mastered versions. Then.
Certainly. Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
Like it varies from person to person.
Huh.
I always mix, I'll have like a reference track in Ableton.
Okay.
So you kind of have the reference track up front of a kind of like the sound, like the way you want your stuff to be balanced,
Yeah.
and you balance it off of that reference track.
Oh, interesting.
But
Okay.
yeah, there are like really good mixing and mastering engineers who probably don't need that, and
Mhm.
they just trust their intuition more than anything else, which is why they are who they are, more or less.
I feel like, I guess that's what happens when you get like a VIP, right? Like a variation in production. You can have completely different versions of the same jumping off point of a song,
Oh
but it
yeah,
turns into something completely new.
yeah.
Huh.
I'd
Is
say
that
most of
something
my
that you
songs
find
have
yourself
up
doing?
to V5
Yeah.
when I'm making them. Kind of just like you do something and then you save it as another version and then you kind of say, "Oh, I don't like that one anymore," and then you make V7 or whatever. Like it's just kind of it's like a iterative process to kind of make
Yeah. This is
everything.
what I'm saying. I would have that issue so frequently. I'm one of these people that's like such a perfectionist on stuff that I'd be like, wait, no, it's not perfect. I have to change it again.
Yeah,
Give me
Yeah.
version 387.
Um, that is awesome. I didn't know all that went into, I guess, mixing and mastering of a track. Can you walk us through your creative process? So, what goes into, or how does James Jager feel motivated to go into the studio and actually produce something? What does that process look like? Can you walk us through it a bit?
of course. So I'd say getting started is always the hardest part, right? Like sometimes I'll go in the studio and I'll make nothing of value at all. And that might happen 5, 10 sessions in a row. Like it's just how it goes. But once you get that hit, once you get like something that you're excited about, I find it very easy to finish off. Um, but in terms of starting a track, kind of go back to the reference track thing. I'll take either a Spotify song or I'll take a remix I found on SoundCloud that I think is really cool,
Hmm.
and I'll kind of take pieces from it, not like steal it, but I'll have it in Ableton and I'll reference like the cool bits of the song
Hmm.
to kind of build like a bottom of the song, like kind of build your foundation. And once you kind of build your foundation, you can get a little bit more creative with like what's on top, your lead, your vocal, your this, your that. But it's easier to start when you kind of have that reference, because otherwise you're just looking at essentially a blank Word document, and you're writing an essay, right? Even when you're writing an essay, you have the book or you have whatever you're writing the essay about. You
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
reference stuff. Um, I'm not copying straight what they're doing, but I'm taking, like my production teacher says this all the time. He says that good artists think and great artists steal. That's what he says often. I might have messed up the quote a little bit, but you like something, you kind of take that art and you make it your own, right?
Right.
That's kind of
Yeah.
the theory. But again, a lot of the times I'll get a reference in there and I'll hate what I make and it'll never see the light of day. But that's just the process.
But you
Yeah.
can pull inspiration from like these awesome tracks and be like, oh, I love this piece of it,
Yes.
and just go from there.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I guess that's how you build the foundation for it. And then I would imagine it just kind of like evolves from there. It takes on its own, world
Mhm.
from
Oh yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll have like 3 or 4, and I'll just say I
Really.
like this piece for this part, this piece for this part, like, and you make it your own. Like it doesn't sound like any of the other tracks,
Yeah.
but you're just using your taste
Hmm.
and your knowledge of how to use the software to kind of create something that you think is good and represents your sound.
Yeah. What would you say if you had to almost elevator pitch yourself to somebody who had never heard you play before, and never heard any of your productions? Like, what would you say is really the essence of your sound?
This put me on the spot a little bit. I've actually
No,
I'm
it's not a
working.
stressful question. You don't have to give me a legitimate elevator pitch, I promise.
It's funny you say that because I'm actually kind of reworking my elevator pitch at the moment.
Okay.
Kind of
All right.
switching it from being, oh, I'm like, one of the top open format DJs in New Jersey, New York, like tri-state area, and like changing it into more of a production thing. Um, but like to me, it's just kind of like energy, I'd say. Like I always like, even when I DJ, like the clubs in Jersey are very EDM driven, I'd say. Even when I'm playing those, like once the room is full, I just kind of energy, energy, and then that's it. Just dancing, sing-alongs, like all this stuff. I don't really care if I mix a song that's at 75 BPM into a song that's at 140 BPM. Like I'll just mix them together, and because I know that those songs need to go next to each other,
Hmm.
and I know it will keep the energy where I want it to be. That's kind of what I do. It's always like energy to me.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess it's a lot of being in a situation like that and the high intensity of some of these clubs in the Jersey and New York areas. I guess it's a lot of reading the room as
Oh yeah,
well.
certainly.
And
Yeah.
that's I'm sure where I would be so stoked. If I were a DJ and I was like, all right, I'm about to drop this one, they don't even know what's coming to them right
Yeah.
now. And then you look out and you see the bass face and you're like, I
Yep.
did it.
Yep.
I did it. I succeeded.
Yeah. The best is when I'm playing and I'll just be like, and I have like an idea, and I'll like load up, I'll like prep the three songs, like,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, okay, this is gonna hit. I'm telling you, this is gonna hit, and it works, and you're just like, yeah,
This is the
Yeah.
light bulb moment that we
yeah,
get.
yeah, yeah. There's
That's
actually like when you're up there, there's a lot of thought involved.
yeah.
Like there's a crazy amount of thinking and like reading the room and taking that information and kind of changing your way forward. Um, it's like after gigs, I'm exhausted.
I'm sure.
Like I'll drive home in complete silence. Like that drive home, there's nothing on. I'm just
Complete silence.
30-minute drive home,
Just my
nothing.
thoughts.
Not even a podcast, no nothing. Just that sweet, sweet silence after a gig.
Oh
Like,
man.
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
How long do some of those gigs go for, would you say? That
It
you're
varies from
actually
place to
playing?
place. Certain times you'll play like a headlining set and you're playing for like an hour or two.
Okay.
You'll have like your openers, you'll come on for peak hour and then you'll, closer will come on or they won't come on or whatever. Other times you play in the club all night. It might be 9 to 2. It might be 10 to 4 if you're in New York. Like it kind of varies. So the New York ones are long for the most part.
Me as somebody who values their bed and their sleep schedule so much, 10 to 4 does not, like, human beings should
Yeah.
not be awake at that time. 4 a.m.? 4 a.m., I'm in dreamland. I am not awake. That's
I'm in
crazy.
dreamland too, but I'm awake.
But you're awake. Okay. That's what matters. That's awesome. So I know
Oh
you
man.
said you're going to do some expanding into different locations, which is super awesome. How do you find yourself like getting to some of these new locations? Is it just networking with people? You meet somebody who has a connection out there?
Yeah, so I'd say Charleston and Charlotte were connections that were in Jersey that moved to those markets. And then Detroit was like a connection that I had in Jersey that had that connection in Detroit. So it's really all about your network. Like
Hmm.
be nice to everyone. Like you never know. Like it's important that people like you in the industry because very easily they could just exile you and you won't play what you want to do. If people don't like you, they're
Yeah,
they're never gonna book you.
right.
Um, but it was kind of cool how the people in Jersey kind of expanded out, and I was kind of able to leverage those connections with some of my good friends moved to those places, and I was kind of leverage them to get them to bring me over. Um, but yeah, it's all networking. Like you want to know your entire market,
Mhm.
everybody. Even the bartenders, even the bouncers. Like I like if I'm walking around Hoboken and I see one of the bouncers, I'll just dap them up, shoot the shit with them for like 5 minutes, and then keep walking. Like it's
Yeah.
just, you know.
That's like golden rule of life, I feel
Oh
like.
yeah,
In business and in life, it's like be a good human, like be cool to people, be friends with everyone that you can be, and like you never know how that's gonna play out and who's gonna know who. And like Us and I talk about that all the time, even on the show in the context of it. It's like
Yeah.
you never know, like, oh, this person knows this other super interesting artist that would like love to have a conversation with you. And then we've made some really great friends just from like a friend of a friend of a friend.
Very true.
Super
Certainly.
cool. Do
Yeah,
you know
and
if
I feel like
there's... Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Us. No, go ahead.
Nah,
You
I
go.
was going to just add that the space itself is very, very small. Like you think the
Yeah.
music industry, there's a lot of people going into the space, but I guess the people who have control of the music industry is very finite. So if you do go in one bad direction, you can find yourself in the rabbit hole of never getting out of that particular space and never being able to like get to the point of going to ultra and playing on the big stage. So it is definitely all about the connections you make along the way. But
Yeah,
um,
it's interesting because before I was involved in the nightlife industry, from the outside looking in, the industry looks so big and so
Yeah.
vast and so complicated. But once you're in there, like it's small.
yeah,
Like we were talking about Martin earlier. Like I went into Martin in like random places in Jersey. Like the market's so small. Like
Yeah.
like even though he's down in Philadelphia and I'm up in North Jersey, like you still see these people. Like it's a lot smaller than you think, and like a lot of times the places you might want to play is like one connection away, you
hmm
know.
Hmm. Yeah. I guess it's kind of like the what do people talk about? It's like the 6 degrees of separation or something like that.
yeah,
Where they're like you're always connected to like some random person, like celebrities and weird stuff like that through like 6 people.
Yes.
Kind of insane
Yep.
when you think about it. Wow. Do you think that there's... You talked about Charleston and Charlotte. Are there other places in the United States or even outside, I guess international as well, that you would like to see yourself playing?
I've heard really good things about Scottsdale.
Okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't know anyone in Scottsdale. So I'll have to work on that a little
Gotta
bit.
work on that angle. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I'm gonna try to do, I do have some connections in Boston. Boston's very difficult. It's a very difficult market to pierce
Really?
into. Boston has some of the most beautiful nightclubs on the East Coast, I think. There's like 7 of them and they're all gorgeous. Like it's like what New York was like during like the Pacha days, like a while ago. Like Boston has really, really awesome spots. I do have some connections over there. I might just take a trip and just say what's up to everyone, shake some hands, kiss some
Yeah.
babies.
Kiss babies.
Yeah,
You gotta break that out.
yeah,
That'll
yeah,
work.
yeah, yeah. But it's a hard market to pierce. But a couple of my guys in Jersey have been getting booked up there, so
Yeah.
I might be next in line. I might have to just push it a little harder. We'll see.
Yeah. I didn't know that I mean, I've literally been to Boston in the past 10 years, maybe once. I think I went for like looking at colleges, and that was about it. But I mean, I didn't know that they had such a robust nightlife situation.
Oh yeah,
Really
yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah.
Huh.
Memoir is a big one. Big Night is like their big concert venue. There's the names are escaping me, but there's a lot of really cool ones. I think it's called the Grand. Yeah, the Grand is another really big nightclub in Boston. There's some
Interesting.
cool spots up there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Huh.
wonder if you could connect with Jules P. He plays there a lot, and he was like, I guess, first episode of season one. Yeah,
He was.
yeah,
I
He
haven't
so,
was the
spoken to Julian
debut.
in a while.
yeah,
I'm gonna have to rekindle that.
yeah. He could be
He
your
was a
hit.
good guy. I didn't even realize he moved up to Boston because I lost all my following a year and
Oh,
a
yeah.
half ago because I got hacked.
Oh
So I haven't even
gosh.
been able to keep up with what he's doing.
Yeah. So he goes back and forth, I think, still, but I think he lives in Philly now. But I know that he originally started his career, I think, up in Boston,
Yeah.
and he'll play
Yeah,
there in the summertime, and go
Because
back and
the
forth.
boat show, right?
Boat show. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Those are sick.
yeah. I
Super
know,
cool.
right?
Yeah,
This is what we're saying. Everybody's connected.
yeah,
Just got to
yep,
get you guys chatting again.
yeah,
So true.
I love it.
yeah.
Along this journey, has there been any challenges that you've faced, whether it's the creative process, the networking aspect of it, being able to like book additional shows? What's been like the biggest challenge you had to face so far in your music career?
Biggest challenge. Sometimes it gets difficult to see the goal
Hmm.
at points. So I work full time in addition to doing this. I'm a chemical engineer Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends I DJ. So more than likely, when I get home from my 9 to 5, I'm either going to the gym or I'm putting in another couple hours doing music. And a lot of times it's very difficult to do that. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's very difficult. Um, and kind of always just try to remind myself, what I'm doing. Taking a little bit less, pulling back a little bit on the bookings this year is helping with that. Going to concerts is helping keep the inspiration high. But that was a big challenge. I want to say during the fall of last year, um, I kind of like lost motivation for quite a while. And when you start to lose motivation, it's very hard to get it back. I say that's a daily struggle with but I'm finding ways to better manage it, I'd say.
Yeah. How did you find a way back with your motivation? That you said you kind of lost a little bit of last fall. How did you work your way back?
I found it by making a song that really excited me, if I'm being honest. Like that, it's to me that's my favorite thing about producing is when you have like this really cool song and you get to work on it.
Hmm.
So that happened. It was actually the night I was telling you guys about when we were drunk working on that song. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that got me really excited, and it got me excited about doing it because I was working on music with one of my really good friends, and we were just like vibing, doing the thing. So that was around December
Yeah.
when we did that. And now it's kind of like we're back. Um,
All right.
we're back.
So back.
No,
We're
yeah.
so
So back.
back.
It, it sounds like you needed time just to press pause, gather your thoughts, and then kind of like re-energize yourself a little bit, um, and fall in love again with the producing side of the music creative process rather than just playing at shows week on week in and week out, which I think a lot of people could contribute or use like in their daily lives as well.
Hmm.
Think pause sometimes what could be helpful and figure out what you actually want to do. And then once you do understand what you want to do, going after that rather than focusing on other things around you that isn't bringing you joy and happiness.
Yeah, you're very much trained from like right when you start DJing
Yeah.
to just go go go, take as many gigs as you can, get your name out there, and you need to do that in the beginning. If you want to be a DJ, you have to take the bad gigs. You have to, you know, earn your stripes and kind of work your way up through the ranks, right? And like you start like that and go 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 go, and then there's a point where you want to pull back a little bit if it's clouding you from growing, right? Because you could work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday and make a very good like wage. Like you'll make a lot of money, but
Hmm.
when do you have time to do anything else? I guess you could work during the week, off those other things, but there's also life happens during the week. Um, so it's you're trained from the beginning to kind of do that. And I see a lot of guys do that, and they're fine with it. They love to DJ. They just want to DJ the local market. They want to do this, and that's beautiful. That's great. But everyone has different goals essentially.
Yeah.
A lot of different types of people on Earth, I guess, because you look at stuff like that, and I have some friends that just, in their, day-to-day life and their full-time career that aren't DJs, that they're like constantly go, 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 and they love it. And they're like, I get, 4 hours of sleep max every night, but like I'm at my best when I'm like that. And there's some people that for me, that would destroy me. Like that that would be burnout city for me immediately. Or I mean, I guess in the DJ space and just in the music space in general, you see some of these bigger names that like I guess they did start off small and they started out taking whatever gigs that they could, but I think of like who was it the other day? I was looking at I think Calvin Harris the other day because I love him. He's one of like I had his CD in my car when I first started driving back in high school. Like he was very formative for me in when EDM first became part of my life. But like I've actually never seen him and I would love to, but I looked, I think just at his website to see where he was, and like he's never playing. He's never playing anywhere in the States. He's in like Ibiza and he's in fun places like that, but kind of looked at that and realized like he doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
That guy is like fully covered. I don't think he's worried about the money at any capacity.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, especially with someone like Calvin Harris, like, I don't know if you guys were up to date with what happened with him at Ultra last year.
I don't
Um,
think so,
but
no.
like a lot of people complained about his set.
Really?
And basically what he did was he remade all of his hits, right? Like the We Found Loves, like, Sweet Nothing, like all his hits. And he made them like a little bit different and he just played all those songs.
Hmm.
And like, I think as a producer, I think that's pretty cool, right? You kind of made different versions of all of your songs for this one show. But a lot of people on the internet complained, why would you, if you're Calvin Harris, why would you ever want to play somewhere where they don't appreciate you, And I
Absolutely.
think that Ultra set like last year might have been the last straw. We might never see our boy Calvin again. I don't know.
Oh no. Don't say that. That would be so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I feel like that actually is really, really cool though. To be able to do that and like I guess you're not he's not in like the grind mindset, you know? He's not like worried to the best of my knowledge. I don't think he's worried about like paying bills or anything. He's just like, "Oh, I want to take, this show. Like this would be a dope place to play out new music or VIPs or whatever." He doesn't have to worry about it. So he probably does have his free time where he's like, "You know what? I made this song 15 years ago. Like, let me just do something, give it a facelift. Let me
Yeah.
just change it." Like, I would do that too.
Yeah. I thought it was cool. My friends had other opinions. Everyone had their own opinion, but I,
Yeah.
I I personally thought it was pretty cool that he would, you know, do it just for that set to make it special for everyone. But people suck.
I was gonna say, you mentioned like people on the internet had a lot to say about it. I'm like, isn't it the truth? Like, people on the internet stay having opinions on everything. Like, things that you're like, how could anybody possibly have an issue with this? And it's like, people find a way.
Oh
They
yeah,
find a way on just about everything.
yeah. If I ever have like a TikTok that does well, I always get a lot of enjoyment out of reading some of the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, people like arguing with each other about nothing. Like, I posted one last week. I had a videographer come out to one of my shows, and he had a camera, he had a DSLR, but I said, make it look like someone's just filming me with their phone, right? That's kind of the vibe I was going for. And I posted this, and I had a Snapchat caption in there that said, "This DJ thinks he's headlining Ultra for real," and like people were like arguing in the comments. Someone was like, "Yo, this DJ is sick," like not even knowing it was me. And then someone was like, "Yo, this DJ sucks. Like he's doing nothing. He's hitting play." And I'm just like, I'm just eating up the engagement from it. Like it was
Literally
hilarious.
sitting there with your popcorn, just like, this is hilarious. You
Yeah, people were
people
arguing about it,
are
and like,
arguing over nothing.
yeah, yeah, and half of them didn't even know it was me. They it
That's so
literally looked
funny.
like it looked like someone just filmed that.
Yeah,
But
that's
I was like, hey,
hilarious.
I may have found my niche because it did help the engagement a bunch. So I might do a little bit more of those rage bait
Wait, I
2025.
was gonna say, what's the niche? Like getting people to fight over you on the internet?
Yeah, I think so, right?
Rage
If
baiting
it
on the
gets
internet?
clicks, I mean,
That's
it's
fair. I guess
unfortunate, but
that
that's where we are.
I know. That is very, very true. That it is where we are, where content like that, where you just probe people a little bit, entice them a little bit, they definitely will eat it and start to argue about nothing. And it is amusing at times when
like
people
for what?
exactly.
People who are really good at like threads or Twitter are really good at stirring the pot.
Oh yeah.
Like they just say something edgy and then people just want to argue with them. And you
Sometimes
get like
it's not even
40, 50
edgy.
comments.
Sometimes I'm like, you could literally be like, I love puppies, and somebody would be like, actually, you're not allowed to say it. Like, like the dumbest stuff half the time. I'm like, well, how could you fight me on that? Like,
Uh,
actually, no. Like, you can't love puppies. You have to love cats more. No, absolutely not. It's crazy.
Yes.
Crazy, crazy place. You remember when the internet was like you had to physically be in like my parents had like the computer room. Did you guys have a computer room too? Yeah. Or now it's like the computer room is your phone and it's with you everywhere. Can't escape it. Kind
No,
of
you
kind of
can't.
miss the computer room vibes.
Yeah, it's like the mom, get off the phone. I gotta use the internet.
Yeah, I
Like,
need the dial up. Oh my God, those were the days. We are old, guys. It's really terrible.
Yeah.
Actually, it's really
I try not
horrifying.
to think about it too much, but you
No.
know.
Nah, I was listening. I was thinking of when you said that you were listening to Calvin Harris and you had the CD and you'll play it in the car. I'm like, damn, whoever is going to like be listening to this episode is gonna be like, wow, how old is Katie? She has CDs.
Yep. CDs. I don't even think they put those in cars anymore. I don't think they put.
No,
Do people buy CDs anymore? Like,
no.
do they even manufacture them? I don't know. I remember when I was like a kid, you would go into like a Target and there would be like, you would buy physical, tangible. I sound like a crazy person. You would buy a physical CD at the store. It wasn't streaming. Streaming wasn't a thing.
Yeah. I have a bunch of vinyl like
Yeah.
decorating the walls of my apartment. But I don't have a vinyl player. I just have the vinyl because I think it's
It's
cool.
the aesthetic of
Um,
it.
yeah, but before CDs, people used to literally print the wave onto a giant circle,
Right.
and like that's essentially how music was played. It's
Yep.
wild to think about now. Now you just type it into Spotify and it comes
Right.
out of your computer.
Yeah. It was
But
a
it's
spinning disc.
yeah,
I feel like we're explaining like the first time like fire was ever invented.
yeah,
Anybody
it might
notice how
have
to
been.
start a fire? Yeah. Well, I feel really elderly now, but it's okay. No, I feel like vinyl has made quite a comeback recently. Like I think that you see it at a lot of these places. I think that some people do have the actual vinyl like player, but I mean even just to buy those for the aesthetic purpose of it, you see them at like Urban Outfitters and stuff all the time.
Yeah, and it's expensive now.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I got Man on the Moon Kid Cudi right here. It's like $60, I think. I'm like, damn.
Gosh.
Yeah.
To not be able to play it? Come
No,
on.
Yeah, no, it's like my whole apartment has like music stuff in it. It's like a small railroad apartment, but there's like vinyl all over the walls.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you have any CDs or I guess like any tracks that really stick out to you as like formative to you and your career?
So actually, I always thought one of the coolest EDM albums of all time was the self-titled Flume album, like the
Oh yeah, that
first
was cool.
Flume album that ever came out. Because I'll listen to it cover to cover. That's another one I have on my wall, but I'll listen to it cover to cover every now and again. And I just think that album could have been released today and it would still be really cool. Like the songs on there were so like different and like nothing was like it. Like you could still release it today and people would still be like, this is cool. Like who's Flume? I like Flume. Like I just thought it was like a timeless piece of like EDM album
Yeah.
thing.
He's awesome. Does he still make music?
I don't think he does anymore
I feel
either.
like he's another one where he gave us a few gems and was like, "All right, bye-bye now."
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
cool, thanks.
yeah. But Flume always made cool, different music, and I always respected that from Flume.
He was really ahead of his time.
Oh yeah,
I feel
certainly.
like I remember that exact album. What was that? Maybe like 2015 or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. That was a good one.
yeah.
But it just sounded like I don't even know how I would describe his sound to someone who had never heard him before. Like it's just very unique in its own sense.
Yeah, yeah. Flume is very creative. Like he doesn't follow the norms at all, and I think that's really cool.
be different. Create your own
Yeah, yeah.
Create your own path.
I like
Look at us.
that.
We're inspiring people today. That's what you get when you listen to Your Where With Who. You get inspiration.
Yeah,
That's what
I'm
we're
feeling
getting to.
inspired. I don't know.
You feel inspired? Are you going to turn around and make a track as soon as
Maybe I might. Who knows?
you have to credit us?
I might have to.
You
Producer
know that. You
credits?
have to
Yeah,
credit us,
I'll,
though.
I'll give you producer credits.
Please. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's what I want.
0.5% royalties, like the labels would do.
Oh, amazing. Perfect. Sounds good to us. We'll take it.
Can you walk us through? You mentioned a little bit about your goals a little bit this year, where you'll be playing at, goal playing in Boston as well. Um, are there any other like whether it's music or personal goals that you have for like this year or in your music career as a whole that you want to get to?
So I want to get 6 releases this year, which is pretty nice because I have 2 that are in, the final mix and master stage. I have one that's like it's in a good spot. It's not done with the production part yet. Those releases, I kind of touched on it early in the call, but I got hacked and I lost my Instagram like a year and a half ago, I think, at this point. So kind of building that following organically back to kind of close to the number it was would be nice. So like when I had like my year-end review with either my booking agency or whatever, like my two most important goals for this year was releasing music, and creating good, engageable content were like the two biggest things I want to do this year. The shows will come,
Yeah.
but they're not like the biggest priority. I mean, I kind of have most of it ironed out already, but like at least the bigger ones, like the Jersey and New York stuff is going to happen regardless. Like the more strategic out of market stuff, I'm in a pretty good spot with those. But just pushing music, content, and music the rest of the year.
Yeah. I think you said that regarding the followers. I was listening to a Gary Vee video yesterday, actually, and he mentioned that he predicts that followers will be like gone in a couple years, that most accounts won't display the number of followers you have, and it'll just be views. Because he pointed to him creating a brand new account and posting with only, I think, 300 or so followers, and they getting 3,200 views. And on his main account, this is on TikTok, 15 million followers, same level of engagement. So he's saying it's more just about the type of content that you produce. And if someone likes it, they're going to like it. They may not necessarily follow you, but they'll like it so they see more of that similar content on their feed. So his emphasis was just produce more content and better content that engages people so that they actually like it and continue to see more of that content on their feed.
Yeah. Yeah, that I actually saw that exact same video.
Yeah.
It's funny you say
Yeah.
that because I was thinking about it and I'm like, like he's kind of right. Like you could have like 5 followers and make something super viral, and like maybe have 10 followers after that, but you'll have like 10,000 likes, It's kind of crazy to think about.
It's interesting. It's kind of like, not to be super like out there esoteric, but it's like, what does it mean at the end of the day?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of thing,
Yeah.
where it's like people look at it and it's like it's a form of currency. It's like, how many followers do you have? And it's like, does it really matter at the end of the day? Like, post cool stuff, post the things that are like unique to you and true to yourself, and like the right people are going to align with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one way we like to end the show, Jaeger, is by asking our guests a two-part question. And the first part is, what's the best advice that you've ever received that you tend to share with other people? And then what's the worst advice that someone has given to you that you say, damn, that shit sucked, and you tell other people to stay away from it, if they've heard that advice as well?
The worst advice ones, that's going to be fun, I think, once I come up with something. But so the best advice that I ever got was actually, I'm kind of going back to my production teacher again. He's full of little tidbits like this. Like it's awesome. He's horses, when you're racing horses, right? They always race each other and they have the blinders up, right? And you do that because if you take the blinders down, the horse is going to look to the right because he's going to care about what the horse next to him is doing, and he's going to trip or he's going to fall behind or he's going to do whatever. Like it's never you're never looking at, oh, he's advancing faster than me, he's doing this and I'm sitting here doing nothing. Like you don't look at that. It's you versus you. It's you from versus yourself from last year. You don't care about who's over here and you don't care about who's over there. Like you just focus on yourself and make yourself the best you can, and that's the best way to grow.
It's really good advice.
Right, well, I'm telling you, he's full of this stuff. If you guys want to have him on the pod, I can give you his contact information.
Yeah.
He'll talk for like 2 hours and just spray out gems like this. I'm telling you.
I love that.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
love little gems like that.
Yeah. The worst advice.
I guess this is a good thing because it means that you're getting good advice in general.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's awesome. He's awesome. He's like super like Jersey Italian kind of guy. Like,
My
yeah,
favorite type of people.
yeah, yeah.
As a Jersey
Um,
Italian, yes, I
yeah.
agree. That's why I like you guys so much.
So
The
I didn't say one thing about Jersey, and we're all from Jersey. So it's the best state. Even though
best state in
Katie,
the nation.
right? There we go,
Right.
Jager. Katie
Yeah.
does not agree.
I
Even though
never said I love me some New
there we
Jersey. I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm a Philly girl now.
go. That's
I'm a Southern Jersey Italian.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Those. Yeah. That, I.
it still works.
It still works.
Still,
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
tracks, okay?
awesome. Well, thank you,
Do we
Jaeger.
have? Do we have the bad piece of
So
advice?
Oh,
I've been thinking about this worst advice thing. I'm
Can't
thinking
come
that
up
if
with it.
someone gave me bad advice, I would just delete it from my brain.
Yeah.
So I actually don't. I don't know, to be honest, because I've definitely gotten bad advice before, but I probably just didn't remember it and just like was like, this guy's out of his mind. Like I'm not gonna listen to this person.
Honestly, that's a good tidbit right there, though.
yeah.
Is like, don't listen to like garbage advice. Like, don't even let it take up any space in your head. Just be
Yeah.
like, oh, that's crazy. No.
Very true.
And move past it.
Yeah, that's it.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on and chatting with us today. We absolutely love a little shameless plug at the end, so please feel free to tell the listeners like anything that you have coming up for people to be excited about, your socials, all that.
Yeah, I mean, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Threads. I don't use Twitter anymore, but follow me on Threads to see what I'm doing. The handle for everything is James Jager _. On TikTok, it's James Jager music. So just follow me on there. I got some cool releases coming up. Cool releases, cool shows coming in 2025. And yeah, just shoot me a message if you want to chat and we could like shoot the shit, you know? I like talking. I'm a yapper.
We love yappers.
Yeah, no, it's
Love
good.
it.
It's good.
Yappers only. All right, amazing. Thank you so much, James.
Yes, thank you guys for having me.
Of course. Bye.
Bye.